Coming up next, it's the Tex Avery Show, followed by Late Night Black and White on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Late Night Black and White, followed by Droopy on Cartoon Network. Next up, it's Droopy, followed by Popeye on Cartoon Network. Up next, it's Popeye, followed by Rocky and Bullwinkle on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Rocky and Bullwinkle Show on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Scooby Movies, followed by The Flintstones on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's The Flintstones, followed by Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Max Steel on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's the Bugs and Daffy Show on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's a pup named Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network. Next up, it's Tom and Jerry Kids, followed by the Flintstones on Cartoon Network. Up next, it's the Flintstones, followed by the Jetsons on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Cow and Chicken, followed by the new Scooby movie on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Tom and Jerry on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Bugs and Daffy Show on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Followed by Johnny Bravo on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Johnny Bravo, followed by Ed, Edd and Eddy on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Ed, Edd and Eddy, followed by Dexter's Laboratory on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Dexter's Laboratory, followed by Toonami on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Toonami, followed by Dexter's Laboratory on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Dexter's Laboratory, followed by Ed, Edd and Eddy on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's more Dexter's Laboratory, followed by Ed, Edd and Eddy on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's the Powerpuff Girls on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Johnny Bravo, followed by Courage the Cowardly Dog on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Courage the Cowardly Dog, followed by Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? On Cartoon Network. Up next, it's Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Followed by the Bugs and Daffy Show on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Bugs and Daffy, followed by Tom and Jerry on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Tom and Jerry, followed by Toonami Midnight Run on Cartoon Network.